You're listening to the Tony and Josh Show.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So it's been an interesting week. I got sick in Vegas. I guess it was last Thursday, and I've had lingering effects up until last night. And I don't know if I'm over it yet.
Oh, geez, man. Well, sorry to hear it. Obviously, there's something going around. I was a little under the weather last week myself.
Well, this was food poisoning.
Oh, well, yeah. I remember you said you had the trots, so to speak.
Yep. That's why I don't know. It'll be the next iteration.
Jesus, that's still going on?
Yep.
Oh, man. You got to be dehydrated like hell.
It comes and goes. So
I can't imagine. Geez, I'd just be drained, literally.
Well, like I said, it kind of comes and goes. I haven't been eating very much, so
I would imagine
been controlling it that way.
You're probably dropping weight. You probably weigh 5 or 10 pounds less by now.
Yeah, just from water weight loss.
Exactly.
So started the new job Monday, and not sure if I told you or not, but the job hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then it takes me another hour to get home, so I don't usually get home till 7.
Oh, boy.
So I haven't done anything tonight other than eat and relax a little bit.
I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4 stories up on the notes.
Oh, that's more than enough, especially with catching everybody up on The Walking Dead.
Well, you're going to have to catch me up, too, because I'm a full episode behind.
So, you know about Carol, right?
How she's sort of been excommunicated almost?
Yeah.
Or they preluded to it at least?
No, she's gone.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're... Because you say an episode, and sometimes that means 3.
Well, I didn't catch last week's, and so last week was 4 or 5?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I wasn't counting them.
Well, episode 26, we covered episode 2, season 4, episode 2. So that was the week before you went to Vegas. So that would be episode 3 then after that, which I think I saw, and I haven't seen 4.
Well, we'll go over it in the show. You can be surprised with everybody else if they haven't seen it.
You're listening to the Tony and Josh Show.
Ooh, I need the fan on. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if things can get much worse for Mr. Obama.
Yeah, I know, right?
What an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could be that stupid. So I think it's a plot to get Hillary elected. Have a sweeping Republican Congress come in 2014, have both the House and the Senate, and then the natural historical thing is that a president of the opposite party gets elected.
Man, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of master plan going on here.
There's something with master involved going on.
Seriously. I mean, I'm just sitting back right now and just sort of chuckling. I mean, just kind of shaking my head in disbelief. I mean, every time I get in the car and make my way either to or from work, I hear something else, and I just sit there and shake my head like, you've got to be kidding me.
It's incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
When 70% of the electorate don't want something, it's strange how they're usually right.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
It's amazing. That many brains all working together. It's strange. I must have put the show time down wrong or something, because I could have swore that I had put up the created a live event way back when, and I went to look at it tonight, and nothing there. So maybe I put the time in wrong or something. But
do they expire?
Well,
are they only good for like a week or something?
I mean, I put today's date on it, so it shouldn't expire. I mean, if it expires, they should come up and said, "Hey, you can't set it that far in the future, because it'll be expired by then." Oh, and I want to go ahead and forego the video thing that we've been doing after the shows.
Okay.
What do you call it? The intro? The
little promo?
Yeah, promo.
I'm not going to argue with you, but you mind telling me why?
I'm not enthused about doing this tonight. I just want to go back, relax.
Fair enough.
It's working late. I mean, also too, being there 9 hours. I wasn't. I was at my other job maybe. I guess technically 8.5, but most of the time was there probably 8 hours a day.
Well, it sounds like you had a shorter commute with the other job as well, didn't you?
No, it was the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this one's about 3 miles further than the other one was.
Well, it's not too bad.
No, it's a much different commute too. A lot less people.
Well, this week and then 2 weeks ago, the main freeway that I take to get from one side of town to the other, the one that goes east and west, I-84, was shut down for a police procession for an officer that was killed in the line of duty. in both instances, in fact. And which, when a freeway like that gets shut down, it just screws everything all to hell. And they shut it down for several hours. It's not just, well, we're going to block people and then we're going to go and everybody else behind us has just got to wait. No, they shut everything down and it's closed for like 3 or 4 hours in the middle of the day. And they usually wrap it up right about the time that rush hour starts ramping up. And by that time, everybody's already on the road and the damage is already done. So yeah, it's a couple nights over the last couple few weeks. It's taken me over 3 hours to get home. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
So you've been catching up on podcasts.
Well, I don't use a lot of data on my phone, so I don't podcast in the car. I podcast it while I'm at work. So I mean, yeah, I've been catching up, that way.
Well, I could listen to podcasts on the plane, but with my wife there, I thought it might be kind of rude being off in my own little world. But I could have listened to podcasts on the plane because it's all on the phone. In other words, beyond pod, anytime I'm connected to wireless, actually every night around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, it'll detect if I'm connected to wireless, and if it is, it'll update all the podcasts. In other words, download all the ones I've subscribed to. So it's all on the phone. It's all local.
I've only got wireless here at home and at work and at a couple of buddies' houses. So when I'm traveling, it's standard data rates apply. And I've sort of grandfathered in on a data package before there was really data. And so I'm only paying $5 a month for an unlimited data package. And I've been very reluctant to test that to see what unlimited really means. Because I don't want to rock the boat and end up having to pay an additional $30 a month for data that I'm getting for $5.
Yeah, but we're having some sort of disconnect here. What I'm talking about doing is whenever it's on Wi-Fi. Did I say wireless? When it's on Wi-Fi at night, it downloads the podcasts. It detects that it's on. It detects it's on Wi-Fi, and downloads the podcast, so it's local. It's not streaming. It's not using the wireless at all.
Okay.
And then when I'm driving back and forth to work, I'm listening to it off of the memory card.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the 8 gig card was okay, and the 16 gig was better. But when I put the 32 in there, I stopped having to worry about cleaning stuff up.
Yeah, I bet.
So, didn't put it in here, but we've got 3 voicemails, and I believe they're all from Nikki G.
All right. Do we got an estimated time of how much? Are we going to play all 3 of them at once? Or?
Yeah. I just put them all together real fast. It's 3 minutes 41 seconds.
Okay. So, question: did the wife get sick too?
Nope.
I would imagine you guys, for the most part, ate a lot of the same stuff.
Nope.
Or at least maybe shared it. No.
Nope. No, she had a big ass pancake with pecans and blueberries. It was really strange. I mean, it was the size of the pancake was huge. She ate about a fourth of it. 2 days, 2 days in a row. One was the one day was the day. The day I got sick. I'm sorry, that was the second day. The day I got sick is she had that, and then we went out to the desert to ride the side-by-sides. And then I got home after a long day because when we got back, I got cleaned up. And then Matt said, let's go, and headed out to SEMA, and was really hungry. Got back home, and I was more tired than I was hungry, and got sick. Couldn't eat. Boy, you don't know how good Gatorade is until you've been sick and hungry.
Yeah, no, I know. When you're that spent. Yeah, I mean things like Pedialyte or Gatorade, they're heaven sent.
Okay, if you're ready to go.
Yeah, bud. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger.
You're listening to the Tony and Josh Show. Now, here's Josh.
Well, hey guys, welcome to the Tony and Josh Show. We are episode 27 after a little bit of a week break while one of us was in another state. Tony and I are broadcasting from different states, but he had a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit of a break for a little trip down to a show, a little tiny show, a little itty-bitty show that not too many people know about called SEMA in the beautiful city of Las Vegas. Welcome back, Tony. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, it's amazing. You knew Zima as a beverage of the 80s, and now they have a whole show, and you wouldn't believe all the people coming out. Cyndi Lauper was there from the 80s. A flock of seagulls. Not the singing group, but an actual flock of seagulls. And quack. Hey, this is Tony with the Tony and Josh Show. It just was lucky enough that my name was in the title, so I could join Josh here with the show. And yeah, we've been off for a couple of weeks, and part of that was Josh was doing his Halloween thing, and I was doing my SEMA thing. So it just worked out that way. But we're back this week, and we're going to talk about The Walking Dead. And several stories that Josh has dug up. I am still kind of out of it. I started a new job last Monday, and no, I don't do podcasting for a living, strange as that may seem. And
boy, that would be nice. Would be nice.
Yeah, started the new job last Monday, and I don't know if you guys remember starting new jobs. They tend to take a lot out of you because it's usually a different way to drive, a different group of people that you get to know. And it's kind of rough on your whole system. So I'm a little.
Hey, you're out of your comfort zone. You got to deal with that, on many different levels.
Yep, and there's a lot to learn as well. So I've been doing that all week, and also too the hours are a little different. I've been used to getting off at 4:30 in the afternoon, and now I'm getting off at 6, and add about a 45-minute drive onto that. I'm getting home close to 7. So it's a great job though, but it's just it's going to take a bit to get used to things. I think I was starting to get acclimated to it today.
Oh yeah, I imagine it's going to take a couple of weeks before you start to kind of get settled into it. You're approaching my kind of hours. I leave the house well before the sun comes up, and I usually get home right about the same time, about 6 or 7 o'clock most evenings, especially lately. We had a couple of freeway shutdowns in my area, and it wasn't for a bad accident or anything. In a way, that kind of was, but we had a couple of police processions roll through over the last couple few weeks for officers that were killed in the line of duty, and then they shut the freeways down for that. And the major freeway that goes east to west here in my area, the one that I typically use to get from the area where I work to where I live, was shut down. And they do this for 3 or 4 hours, and it just backs everything up to arterial roads, all of my secret little bypasses and side routes and stuff like that. They were all screwed up, and so there's been a couple nights where it took me well over 3 hours to get home. Man, now that's a commute. I just you get home and I can only imagine what a new job is like. For you, but man, I tell you what, a 3+ hour commute, you get home and you're just simply exhausted at that point.
Oh man, at that point you just want to go out and kill something.
Yeah, just about.
Because that's
was at a shooting range in the garage or something.
Yeah, the 3 hours on like that is just. I mean, it's horrible that an officer lost their life in the well, I would think on duty, but even if it wasn't on duty, but you would hope that they would do a little bit better thought process about when and what they're doing to hundreds of thousands of people that have to commute. And they probably just said, screw it, deal with it. But a 3 hour, how much crime is created because of people having to have a 3 hour drive home? I mean, I know that it didn't affect everybody that way, but certainly it did some, and I just don't think it's kind of like, it's like the government does things. Don't really care. This is what you're going to do, and too bad if you don't like it.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing a lot of that lately, aren't we?
Yep. Well, before we go too far into the show, let's get right into our Walking Dead segment, just in case we get long-winded.
Walkers, crawlers, blood, guts, and all that is zombie. It's time for Tony and Josh to recap this week's AMC's The Walking Dead.
Yes, it is. And Josh was telling me that he's missed the last episode, so we're going to quiz him on this. Well, I'm not really going to quiz him, but I'm going to tell him some things. And if you see a surprised look on his face or a surprise in his voice, then we'll know that's not the last episode. It was the one before that. So
I'll most likely be asking questions along the way and possibly trying to refute some claims or whatnot. I have no idea what's going on. So
no, that's not possible. Say it's no.
Yeah,
okay, so
exactly.
So I'll start at the top. I can't believe they killed Rick.
Yeah. Funny guy.
Yeah. So anyway, I wonder if they will. I mean, could you imagine? That would be a shocker.
It would have to be a series finale, not a season finale. That would have to be the end of the series, where they would sort of go out with a bang.
Okay.
And
okay, here you go. I got it. Rick dies. Then he comes to in the hospital.
Oh, and it was all a dream.
Well, actually, he dies, and it fades into the hospital, and the heart monitor is going, pee, and then Lori walks out the door into Shane's arms, and as they start to embrace, the heart monitor goes beep, beep.
Oh, yeah.
He wakes up. It was all a dream. It was all a horrible dream, and he has to kill Shane all over again. So anyway, well, no, let's get into it. So Carol is no longer with the group. She has been shunned. She has been ostracized.
Now, I wouldn't call her a bad apple. I understand what she did and why she did it. And honestly, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. But geez, very little remorse. It seemed like there was no guilt, which I could kind of understand. But throughout, I mean, the last episode I saw, very matter of fact, very cold, calculated, not really the kind of personality I was expecting to be coming from her throughout this. I mean, of course, knowing that it was her who killed those two people in the cells and dragged their bodies out in the courtyard and set them on fire. Wasn't expecting her, but again, I'm not entirely surprised either.
Well, they were laying the groundwork whenever she was teaching the kids to use knives to kill, to survive, and they were laying the groundwork for that. So that was kind of shocking that she was doing that outside the council. She wasn't talking to Rick. She wasn't talking to the council. She was making a unilateral decision, much like Shane was doing, and what was getting Shane in a lot of trouble, because he was saying, too bad, this is what we're going to do. This is what we have to do to survive. And to a certain degree, that is the way to survive. It may not be the right way. I mean, it all depends on how you want your society to be. Do you go for lawlessness and just kill whoever you need to kill, or trip whoever you need to trip when you're running from zombies to survive? Or do you try to survive as a human with laws? So I think that's what they were building to, and it was obvious. I mean, once Rick figured out who it was, which I still don't know how he figured out it was her, by putting his hand up to the door jamb where there was blood.
Yeah, where that little bit of a blood print was right there. I didn't quite get that either. How that was what tipped him off. I mean, I don't recall ever seeing anything from her that was a tell. A physical, this is how I walk through a doorway every single time type of thing. It was poignant in the sense that they kind of focused on that for a moment, but I didn't really, pay much attention to it in the sense that, oh, well, that's just a blood print on the wall. He's just noticing it and we're moving on now. I'm not sure exactly how he put it together either. It seems the writers in this season are certainly doing a lot to force you to infer things, and then they kind of allude to it or shed some light on it later in a subsequent episode or later in the show.
Well, actually, after I said it, I thought, well, maybe it had to do with her height. And if you were reaching up to a wall, if you were standing, flat-footed, reaching to a wall for pushing out or something like that, it might give away a person's height. But, obviously what that was meant to do was show that he was doing detective work. He was going through the thought process. And I guess he didn't know for sure that it was her until he actually asked her. He just suspected.
Okay, I'll bite on that. Yeah, he was just suspecting her, but I'm thinking, okay, well, how many people are in the prison at this point? I mean, there's dozens and dozens of people.
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of people,
and a lot of people around that height. I don't know. There really wasn't a lot of a big montage of him doing a lot of detective work. I mean, it was they didn't really go all that in depth to it, and he just sort of came out with it. All right, I'm just going to ask you. And maybe that was his way of detecting. He just goes around asking people, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?
That's true. He could have been asking everybody. But keep in mind, too, that, and I forgot the boy's name in the show. But anyway, Rick's son did rip her off by telling his dad that she was teaching the kids how to kill with knives.
Yeah, I mean, we went over that in whether he's being a tattletale, if he's doing it to get some brownie points.
No, but I mean, it indicated that she was doing things outside of the council, outside of permission. So perhaps she took it upon herself to eliminate these two people that were going to infect and hurt the other members. So continuing to do the same line of taking the same line of thoughts, same line of actions that she had already taken.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, so, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's sort of, kind of put everything all in a nice little basket for you.
And I'll tell you what, I guess we're lucky that the girl, and I don't know if you saw this or not, I guess we're lucky that the girl had that nice tattoo on her leg, on the side of her leg. So that later in the show, when it was gnawed off by a zombie and laying there, we knew that one of those two people was no longer not going to be returning with them. And that was a shame. I thought that was cool. They were getting a couple of kids, a couple of new people. And I felt sad for that girl that she had broken her leg because it had been trampled by people, and she didn't set it. It just kind of healed, so she walked funny. And let that be a lesson to you kids. No tattoos. If she didn't have a tattoo, she'd be alive today.
Well, there's a good chance either that or else, staying out of large crowds during a mass exodus or a trampling.
And I don't know what happened to that guy. He may show back up because.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is he seemed like he was apt enough to take care of him. Now you notice that they for a second there keyed on Rick asking him the three questions, and they went to a break right away or cut to a different scene right after he asked the first question. So we never really got to find out, sort of how many people he had killed or whatnot. They kind of alluded a little bit to that maybe he wasn't the killing type, or maybe they weren't very savvy when it came to hunting zombies, in the sense that they were in a house, kind of held up of sorts in one room of that house with a zombie still living there.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, I would have taken care of that, I would think.
Right. Yeah. After a couple of days, I think I would have got a little bit tired of sharing a room and going to the bathroom, assuming there wasn't a bathroom attached to that room. It's like, screw this. Exactly. I'm coming out. I think I can keep her from biting me long enough to shove her down the stairs or something. Yeah, I agree. They did seem to be kind of noobish, and but I still felt bad because I thought they were going to have they went out and they were going to get a couple of new members and bring them back, and they could be killed in later episodes. Because there's a finite number of people before you get to the regulars. But
exactly.
But I really was shocked that Carol was sent on her way, and I certainly believe she can take care of herself, although I was a little nervous for both her and Rick, because this is very much a buddy system world that they're living in.
Well, not only that, she brings a lot to the table. You saw it when she was setting that dude's shoulder, that one guy we were just talking about, the kid. And he, Rick was like, I didn't know you knew how to do that sort of thing. And, she just kind of alluded, it was just, picked up along the way, so to speak. She is definitely a woman who can take care of herself. One, she's got some medical background, or at least, somewhat able to help out in that regard. She definitely brings a lot to the table when we're talking about, being a productive member of the society, as it were. So losing her is really going to, I think, have an effect on the group as a whole. A strong member that was very, very good at what she did. And now they don't have that anymore.
And even motherly to those two girls.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit of a matriarch type of thing going on there as well, to some degree. And not only that, for a while there last season, I think it was, there was, I think, maybe a hint of something between her and Daryl. I'm not quite sure if that ever happened, or if I'm not remembering that correctly, or whatnot. But I'm wondering if he may not now, go a little bit crazy or something, because, a good friend of his and perhaps a former lover is no longer part of the group.
Yeah, I don't think that ever happened. The lover portion ever happened, but I do think they were getting close. I think you saw that in the first episodes, especially where she was teasing him, and it was really funny. Like, "Oh, Daryl, I liked you first." So
that's
yeah,
right.
and it made me feel bad, but I have to remind myself, Carol's not dead. She hasn't been, turned into a zombie and put down permanently. She's just been sent off. So this is a great way for her to be off, us wondering what she's doing, and come back at an opportune time.
And I think that is going to happen. I think that a few episodes down the way, perhaps on the season finale, there's a climactic moment where all is lost and everything appears to be, going down the crapper really, really fast. And, it's all but done. And all of a sudden, a key zombie is killed by, guess who? Carol.
Well, you didn't see last week's episode, and so you don't know this. The governor made a appearance at the end of the last episode, just enough where he's looking in at the prison. So,
well, I was beginning to wonder what happened with him, because he was in just about every episode for a while there, and then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth, and there really wasn't. I mean, his name hadn't even been brought up, and so I was wondering when we were going to see him again.
Well, his name hadn't been mentioned, but Daryl was giving Michonne a hard time about leaving and being gone so much. Because that's what she was doing. She was out looking for him. And I think it may have been in the last episode, she actually made the reference, maybe it was the one before that, where she would kill him simply because, not for revenge, but simply because it needed to be done.
needed to be done. That's right. And I think those were her exact words, in fact.
It just I will cut him in half simply because it needs to be done. And I agree with her.
Oh, absolutely. No, the guy is a horrible pig, and I wish he'd die. His character, anyways. But no, I mean, Daryl was definitely giving her a guilt trip.
Yes.
And I don't.
Or as I like to call it, he was giving her a Merle.
My thing is that I'm wondering if it was coming from not a, well, you left us hanging type of thing, because she's been in and out from the beginning, but more maybe from, I'm kind of having some feelings for you now, and gee, I sure wish that you would stick around instead of taking off all the time type of thing. And that's kind of how it's being portrayed, at least from my perspective. Could be.
Also, too, I think that he sees her as a valuable fighter, a valuable person in that group. And if she's out there by herself, she's putting herself in a lot of danger where, she could just be there with them. Now, I don't remember if it was the episode prior or last episode, but she showed us a nice big smile. And I promise you, that girl looks a lot better with a smile on her face.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Looks like a totally different person.
Her and Daryl are sort of cut from the same kind of cloth.
True.
Kind of very independent, almost loner-esque, badass to the core type of people. And so I think that they're, that common ilk bond is definitely there, and maybe that's sort of seeding some of these potential feelings, which are bringing a lot of this guilt trip up that we're seeing. And so, and I think that she's keying into that, and we may see her sticking around a lot more for the next while.
Well, in fact, in the last episode, that's what she indicated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she basically, I can't remember exactly, but she basically told him that, I think she said basically she was going to stop hunting the governor and stop going out so much.
Well, I think that perhaps here in the next coming episodes that she's going to end up going back on her word, because if the governor is back or he's going to be, popping up again, she may, get wind of that and be like, well, here's my window of opportunity. I know I said I'd be sticking around, but if he's nearby, I'm going to go hunt the bastard, and off I go.
I don't think that she's going to have to go anywhere. I think that the governor's going to be all up in it. And I know that it'd be a ripoff from the Quentin Tarantino movie Kill Bill, but it would be wonderful if she could take out his other eye.
No, yeah.
and leave him to some zombies.
Oh boy, that would be a fitting end, wouldn't it?
That would be, and him just, hollering and kill me and, so on and so forth. That would be pretty damn funny, but I don't think they would write that. I would, if I was the writer, I wouldn't write that. I would just joke about it in the room.
Yeah, right.
That was a great scene though from Kill Bill.
So speaking of scenes, now there was a scene that I thought I saw a couple episodes back where they sort of come up over a hill a little bit in the car or something like that, and you see, a few rolling hills, some expansive hillside, and there's just a sea of zombies moving towards the area where I would assume the prison is.
They were driving a car. That's whenever they were going out looking for the antibiotics to help cure people of the flu.
And they found this, they ran into this, just, tens of thousands, if not more, just a sea of zombies.
But you remember what happened, right? They heard a voice on the car radio.
Oh, that's right.
So Daryl wasn't paying attention to the zombies and the road. He was trying to listen to the radio and messing with it. And then all of a sudden, zombies. And there was, a bunch of zombies.
Well,
so much so, huh?
That was the end of the episode, if I remember right, wasn't it?
No, they had to abandon the car because they tried backing up, and there was so many zombies that they were trying to back up through. It actually raised the back of the car up and high centered them. And how many times have our off-road people high centered on spectators? Damn it, get out of the way.
Not getting traction in all this blood and brains.
Yeah. And actually it's funny because in the last episode, I'm about 90% sure they had a CJ, and they were actually using that CJ to
tow that trailer with the piggy in it. Yeah.
Well, they actually showed it in the last episode a bit more. And I actually commented on Twitter someplace on the Jeep thing saying, did anybody lose track of the plot for the 2 minutes they were showing the Wrangler? I mean, the CJ on the show, because it's like, hey, Jeep.
That's not the first time that they've used Jeep.
That's true.
In this series.
I forgot about them dragging the pig killing cart.
Well, there's that too, and then I think it was last season.
They had a Cherokee, didn't they?
There was a Cherokee in there. That's right.
I think
it was like an overpass or a bridge or something like that, and they came across a family, or maybe it was just there or something like that. But there was definitely a Cherokee that was involved. Oh,
that actually reminds me. Now, I made that comment on Facebook about the did anybody lose track of the plot for the 2 minutes they were showing the CJ, and our buddy Ironman 4x4fab.com Andy.
Yeah,
commented. He commented on that post, and he said that his sister-in-law was the blonde that got shot in the last episode. So I don't think you've seen that one.
We've almost got a personal connection there. It's like 6 degrees of separation to Walking Dead.
Yeah. And but basically, there's a blonde that gets shot because there's a guy with a gun, and he gets bitten by a zombie. Because they're dying inside the prison from the flu or whatever it is they have. And he accidentally, from being bit, he pulls the trigger and he shoots this girl, this blonde. And I said, oh, was that her only scene? Because she didn't get to be a zombie. She didn't be nothing. She was just one of the survivors from the Governor. And she gets shot, and I guess she dies and is going to come back as a zombie. But anyway, he said no, that she's been in every episode from the beginning this season, but that was her last episode that she was going to be in because they're cutting back on the show. They're cutting back on the extras on the show.
Yeah. Well,
and I can't believe that they're trying to save money on the show as popular as it is.
Well, a lot of people thought that the show Firefly was really popular too, or was it Serenity? I can't remember which now.
Yeah.
Firefly, and that didn't last very long.
That was on. That thing was on for a year. I saw it. Yeah. I think when it was on, I didn't like it. I think we've talked about that before. Western and outer space. Come on. I mean, it's just
not everybody.
That's taking two things and mashing them together.
Not everybody is fans of zombies. I work with several people that
I work with zombies.
Well, yeah, that too. That say they have only watched snippets of a couple of episodes. It's not their thing. They don't like it. And they don't care. They think that zombies are played out. That it's a stupid show. And I look at them like are you freaking kidding me? This is one of the best shows on TV right now. It's
a little slow, and it's been a little slow from the beginning. I think one of the things that got me about it was the very first episode where Rick wakes up, he puts on his uniform, he goes out to see what's going on, and this little girl is walking around, and he's like, he's looking at her, and honey, are you okay? And she's a zombie, and he shoots her in the head, and I went, this might be a show to watch because this is like they're doing something here that is not politically correct. It is like it's like people thinking about what it would be like if you had to go through this and how utterly horrific it would be. And this show has kind of captured that, but if you guys are not aware, there is a Walking Dead game that I would say is less of an action game than it is a cartoon. It's a very well done cartoon. It's like live action, kind of with cartoonish type stuff. But I played through the 5 episodes that they had created, and I think they're coming up with another one. And it was very depressing. It was very gritty. It was very horrific. And I was just sad, but it's like reading, and I think I've talked about this before. It's like reading a very sad novel, a very sad story. You enjoy it, but you don't feel necessarily good about it, other than it ain't real and you didn't really have to go through it. But it gave me a very good sense of what I think it would be like, and a better understanding of how people might not want to continue living and how they might take their life if we were ever in like a zombie apocalypse.
Well, very interesting. I mean, that is very descriptive in that it was obviously a game that you were able to immerse yourself in quite easily, it sounds like. So it's and I don't know if that's just, I mean, me personally, I get immersed in movies. If it's a movie that I actually like, not one that I'm just simply watching. If it's a movie that I'm genuinely interested in and that I like, it's in my wheelhouse of genres of movies that I like, I really get into the movie, and I'm in that scene. I'm in that world. I'm right there next to that character, that actor, whatever. As the scene is playing out, and and I've had movies that have I've left the theater or turned off the TV after the movie's over, and it's like, holy crap, that movie's going to change my life, that type of feeling, because it left such an impression on me.
Yeah, there's certain movies that you see that you think about long after the movie's over, and you just fixate and think about it. And those movies are very few and far between. I remember I definitely, when I saw Star Wars at the theater, the first of 11 times, and then I never went back. I never went back to movies to watch them over and over again. But this was so neat, and it was so there was something about it that was, and they said later on, and I guess I kind of picked up on it later on. It was the kung fu Japanese martial arts type thing, because they had very much of the mysticism of like kung fu or any of the, like, back when I was a kid, Saturday mornings late Saturday morning, maybe around early afternoon, they had kung fu theater, and you could watch the really bad kung fu movies.
No, I remember kung fu theater. Heck yeah. No, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. They certainly weren't award-winning kung fu movies.
Oh, but they were great. They were just really great. And where Star Wars was not kung fu theater, it had that mysticism, the dragon style and all that kind of crap, that like they would do in the kung fu theater type shows. And so anyway, it just really stuck with me, and I had to see it several times to really get that entire movie into my system, because I wanted to see everything. It was very well done. George Lucas does a very good job of making a movie. Not so good at writing dialogue. It'll be interesting to see how Disney's going to handle this.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Disney, there's a couple of previews floating around the web of some upcoming Disney movies, which appear to be very, very dark. There's one that looks like a almost like a Snow White type of film. It's got Angelina Jolie in it, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But it appears to be very, very dark, kind of like a Brothers Grimm-esque type of feeling on a very, very odd twist to potentially what may be perceived as a fairy tale, a common, well-known fairy tale, but it's not being written or portrayed as such, and the title certainly isn't that either. And so if that is any indication of the type of things that we're going to be seeing from Disney with their PG-13 releases that have this very deep and dark, almost sinister type of feel to them, if they carry that into the Star Wars theme franchise, rather, it's got some good potential.
I'm sure I've mentioned this before. I would like to see a series of buddy movies, kind of like the 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and I just lost his name, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Or Nope, I totally lost it. What was the movie with?
What was the last buddy movie that I think that came out? You know, we had Wedding Crashers not all that long ago. We had The Interns not all that long ago.
Well, I'm thinking of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. What was that?
In the,
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon series, yeah.
All those
yeah.
they were two different ages, which was okay because it worked. Now this is an idea for Disney, buddy movie. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. All the antics that they got into before one turned one into Patty or Matt or whatever you want to call somebody that doesn't have an arm and two legs.
Oh, jeez. See,
because you know how they relate back to the, you saved me last time. No, I saved you, and that one doesn't count. And, all this stuff. It was beautiful. I would love to see those two guys, even the guy who played Anakin, as bad as he was. I would love to see a buddy movie with those two and all the little things they got into, because, it was hilarious.
That I would see maybe being a Cannes Festival short film type of thing, very low budget. If you had a big production company behind that, I'm afraid we would see another Jar Jar Binks type of production come out of it. And boy, that would definitely be jumping the shark in my book.
Yeah, it would be so funny seeing them go through all their little antics and going to different planets and seeing how they got how their relationship developed. And I just think it would be a blast. But there's all kinds of shows. Now, I don't remember right offhand what direction are they going? Are they going pre Anakin Skywalker on the Star Wars movies, or have we heard?
I think it has been teased, but I don't think it has been officially announced. If it has, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
I did hear a snip once it was released that Disney was going to be doing this, and this is when it's going to be released. That there was a sort of a blurb as to when in the timeline this is going to be taking place, and they're obviously going to be 3 more from what I understand. But I don't know when they're supposed to take place, and I don't know if they're going to be all concurrent. Meaning one could be, book 0, and another one could be, episode 9 or something like that. I don't know.
Now, I guess the nice thing is that Disney should have enough money where they should be able to start with the first one, unlike Lucas that had to start with the 4th one or something, because that was the most interesting one, the one he could get a budget for. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely. Well, before we head down another road of doing all movies, I'm going to go ahead and steer this ship in a little bit different direction, Tony, and mention to the people that we've got some voicemails we're going to play for you guys with our favorite friend of the show, Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and I'll take a little bit of time to talk about science fiction and inventions and how yesterday's science fiction becomes today's reality. Like, hundreds of years ago, man only dreamed of flying. Now, thousands of people every day hurtle through the air in a aluminum tube. And I saw the Samsung wristwatch phone, which was like you saw in the Dick Tracy comics in the 50s, and cell phones in general back then were like science fiction. And now they're reality. And I remember seeing in a movie a while back ago, this guy had incriminating evidence on a little tiny disc that went to a computer. And now that's, CDs and flash drives and the micro SD cards. That's, unheard of back then, and it's reality today. But the thing that caught me the most is you see it all the time in Star Trek and a lot of other space movies, where somebody's ailing or sick, and they just wave a beam of light over them, and it scans them and diagnoses them, or in some cases cures them. Yeah, I hope that technology develops before my prostate exam next week. All right, guys. I will chat at you later. Goodbye. Hey, this is Nikki G, and there's no apologies necessary for not playing my voicemail. I know you guys didn't get to it. I tune in and listen to you guys. I don't tune in and listen to myself talk. If I want to do that, I just sit here and just listen to myself talk. But quite frankly, I'm tired of listening to myself drone on and on and on about the same old things over and over again. And I will pause for laughter. And that said, just watched episode 2 of The Walking Dead. The one thing you guys didn't comment on was at the end when Rick was burning the pig pen, he took off his sheriff's shirt and threw it in the fire, which is about dang time. After 3 years of wearing the same shirt, I bet it stunk.
Yeah.
I wonder if laundry soap is on their list of scavenge items. And speaking of zombie apocalypse, there's with no manufacturing, how long until they deplete the world's supply of toilet paper? And will toilet paper become the new currency in the zombie apocalypse? And I saw that they drove the Jeep to throw the pigs off the back, which we all know that's highly inaccurate, because in the zombie apocalypse, there'll be no internet, nobody can order parts to keep their Jeep running, and there'll be no forums to help us keep them running. So no Jeeps. That's probably why you see a lot of Kias on that show. All right, that's my 2 cents. I'll chat to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye. Hey, this is Nikki G, and I had a hard time finding the podcast on the interweb this week. I think I might have accidentally deleted it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just trying to clear out my browser history. I didn't want my wife to catch me drooling over the Girl Scout cookies spring lineup. Curse them Thin Mints. The secret ingredient is crack. That's why they make me crave it. All right, guys, I will chat at you later. You have a good one. Bye.
You know, I know that I'll start something here, but they only have one good Girl Scout cookie, and that's that one with the coconuts and the caramel and stuff on it.
Yes.
That's the only real good one that they have.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, you're absolutely correct. That in my book, and as well should be in anybody else's, that is the only Girl Scout cookie. And
you know, when you go to the cabinet and those are all gone, that's when you start eating the other ones, and it's kind of a begrudging. Damn it!
The wolf down this thin mint.
Yeah, thin mint crap. And what's that other one? A butter cookie? Oh my God! You need an IV with that thing. It's so dry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to just real quick here touch on something that Nikki G said there about the TP, toilet paper being the next currency. You know, it's funny, way back, and I was just a kid. My grandfather told me, he's like, the most important commodity in the world is toilet paper. You know, you can live without just about anything else. But boy, you better have a good supply of toilet paper any given time. Because if there were something to happen and you don't have any more, well, you're certainly going to be missing it awfully bad.
Well, I know you've been out in the woods and you've had to go whenever there wasn't any TP. You know what to do.
Yes, I do. I mean, I was a Boy Scout. I'm a survivalist. I've got some ingenuity and well, I mean, geez, if it came down to it, I've even used leaves for that matter. Yeah. I mean, come on, it's man's got to do what a man's got to do, and man will survive. But boy, believe me, I prefer toilet paper.
Sure, and you've had a dog, got a dog, or have had a dog, so you know how to drag your ass across the carpet.
That's right. Oh boy, folks, if you don't have an image of Tony scooting across the floor right now with his hands between his legs, oh, you're missing out.
You just have to pace yourself. You don't want to get too vigorous or going too fast, because that's a carpet burn you don't want.
And you won't soon forget either. Oh, good times. Well, big thanks again to Nikki G for calling in. Always appreciate the voicemails, and glad you didn't take it to heart too seriously about us not getting to every voicemail every episode, Nikki G. So We'll try and do a better job of that in the future. And folks, I'm going to give you that number here real quick. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, just like Nikki G did, you can give us a call any time of the day or night, 24/7. Nobody's going to answer that phone line. It's just there for you guys to give us a call. That number is 206-600-6882. We hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, and I will mention that's a great observation about Rick burning his shirt. I did not make that connection. I did not think about that being the shirt that's been in the show for all those years, and he made the decision to burn it. Although it seems interesting that he has turned the corner from being, I don't want to make decisions, to making unilateral decisions by telling Carol to hit the road. I mean, I understand he's saving her life or saving somebody else's life that he may have to shoot while they're trying to kill Carol, but still he didn't go to the council. So as I've seen on several of the social media things, the dictatorship is back.
Yeah, potentially. It may end up backfiring on him. I guess time will tell. So we'll see. Well, speaking of jails and stuff, there's a story that I found here recently about something that I thought was interesting. It's a jailbreak plot that was thwarted, and the suspect is in custody at a local animal shelter. So prison guards in Brazil's northeast Alagoas, I'm just going to butcher that, and we'll just call it Alagoas, state, said they have foiled a jailbreak plot with a surprising accomplice, a black and white cat. The cat had a cell phone, drills, assorted batteries, and 2 saws taped to its body when it was spotted by guards as it was about to enter the prison. This is all according to statements released earlier this week, in fact. Now, prison officials are still maintaining that the items attached to the cat were to be used to facilitate a prison break. Now, I would like to play devil's advocate here and offer an alternative theory, that the well-equipped cat was a cat burglar and was on his way to break into the nearby tuna canning facility. Who knows? Now, the prison's more than 250 inmates were all considered suspects, however. As officials said, they did not immediately know who the cat was supposed to be aiding. Now, the incident is still under investigation, and the cat obviously isn't talking and has since been handed over to animal control agents.
Gee whiz, can you imagine taking tape off a cat?
Good Lord, no. The poor cat.
The poor people taking it off.
Yeah, really need some welding gloves for that.
I'm surprised they didn't have a lineup and see which one the cat went to.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I can only imagine. Well, I mean, do they eat cat in Brazil? I don't know.
I think they eat cat everywhere, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, folks, I've got a ton of stories for you guys that we're going to share with you. I'm trying to get to them all. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So, I mean, some of these may end up, spilling over to the next show. But we got some goodies for you guys tonight. So stick around. There's something going around right now called the knockout game. Now, I'm going to risk sounding like an old fuddy-duddy here as I share the story that I found with you guys. Now, apparently there's a fad going around called the knockout game. Now, I remember as an adolescent kid playing something called the pass-out game, where a duration of quickly spinning around in a tight circle with my head down, purposefully hyperventilating myself, then suddenly standing up against a wall and having a friend press very strongly against my solar plexus, forcing a sudden loss of oxygen to the brain and experiencing a pass-out. Now, I later perfected this game in college by eliminating the spinning around and the hyperventilating, and of course the need to have a friend press on my chest, and replaced all that with the ingestion of copious amounts of alcohol. But I digress. So let's take a look at what these kids are doing nowadays. This new game called Knockout. Well, what is Knockout, you may ask? Well, let me explain. It seems like Knockout is a game where kids sucker punch an unsuspecting, innocent person for no reason at all. This is what people are seemingly considering fun. And they go around hitting women, yes, women, old people, even the homeless. Videos all over YouTube. It's not a matter of if, but when somebody is going to take a punch and start unloading a full clip on people who are attempting to do this. Then we're all going to want Al Sharpton to rally march or something, who knows. But this sort of thing really isn't all that new, is it? I mean, does anybody else remember when wilding was all the rage? Well, I do. Well, it was only 3 years ago when a group of teenagers were convicted of assault after an attempted pickpocketing went wrong at a Colorado bus stop. 3 kids claimed they were just wilding out, and the kids were spontaneous. The attack was spontaneous and unplanned. Now, something tells me we're not going to see as much of this in middle-class suburbia or a quiet farm community of the Midwest. This fad seems to be centralized on the inner-city youth of large metropolitan areas. All I got to say is, let's get away from the knockout. Let's go back to pass out, or hell, let's just have a drink.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I agree with you. With the more and more concealed handguns being out there, there's going to be either the person that got hit, or more than likely the person that's watching is going to be unloading a clip on somebody, just like you say. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's going to be real interesting. Hey, me, man, I was just goofing around. Well, now you're just down. So.
Well, I remember something, I'm going to say about 10 years ago or so. It's called bum fights. And, and it was all the rage for a little while now. This is definitely metamorphosed into something more severe. A couple of the videos I saw are actually kind of shocking. I mean, ordinarily, I try and bring some stories they're kind of jovial and kind of, a little make you say WTF or, something like that. But, some of these videos I've seen of this knockout game really are quite shocking. There's this one where there's this group of like 4 or 5 kids, and they're walking down this alleyway or in between 2 buildings or whatever, parking lot, something like that, and they come across this teacher coming out of a building or something. I know it's a teacher because it was this one actually made the news. And this one dude crosses 2 or 3 of the other group and just cold cocks the guy flat out, and just like a rag doll collapses to the ground, nails his head on the curb. I mean, just out like a light instantly. I mean, lights out. Now, that's definitely a knockout. But come on now, when you're not expecting a sucker punch like that, and somebody with all of their might and who knows how to throw a punch lays one into the side of your dome, you're going to go down. I don't care who you are. And this guy certainly did, and he was injured, not severely, but well enough he had to go to the hospital. And I think he had a couple of stitches and stuff like that. This is serious stuff. I mean, especially when we're talking about hitting women, hitting the elderly, hitting homeless people. It's just it's obviously not right. There's a time and place to go out and start throwing punches at an unsuspecting person, innocent person who hasn't wronged you, looked at you sideways, or stepped on your turf, for that matter. It's uncalled for. And again, I know, Tony, you and I have kind of gone down this road a little bit in prior episodes towards the beginning of this podcast, not this one particularly, but this show. The question arises, where the hell is the parents? And obviously, this happening in communities where there probably isn't both parents in the picture. These are troubled inner city youth who obviously don't have anything else better to do than to go out and try and knock somebody out to prove how macho they are or something.
But it's society's fault.
Oh, of course,
it's not their fault. It's society's fault. For having an inner city, or allowing social programs that encourage women to have multiple children by multiple fathers so that they can get paid and not have to work. It's society's fault. Well,
again, I'm going to turn it back onto the parents. Look, I mean, I'm just a step parent, and I certainly don't know what my stepson is doing every moment of every single day. Thankfully, I'm blessed to where the kid knows the difference between right and wrong, and has, for the most part, been able to keep his nose clean and stay out of any serious trouble. Sure, his grades could improve, and sure, he gets in, opens his mouth when he probably shouldn't, and he's gotten in a little bit of trouble here and there. But again, it's nothing serious, nothing to where he's broken any laws, where he'd be at risk of being in a lineup or having the police called on him or anything like that. But again, he's got both parents in the picture, right. For the most part here. So, I don't know. I mean, we can sit here and point fingers all day long. Nonetheless, folks, if you're out there listening, you have maybe any indication that your son or daughter might be in. And again, this isn't just boys here that's involved in this sort of thing. There's plenty of videos out there of girls doing this exact same thing. So don't think that that your daughter is excluded from any of this. It's very potentially, if you hear your kids talking about the knockout game, this isn't an app on the iPhone, folks. This is something that's happening. You might want to look into it.
Amazing. Now, I think this next story is kind of interesting, seeing as how I just did a 6-hour round trip flight to Vegas.
You must be talking about, the gas on the plane.
Yes.
How bad is your gas? Look, I can clear a room. Anybody who's got a big dog knows that a dog can clear a room. But is your gas bad enough to bring down a plane?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, it might be. It depends on what I ate that morning. So an American Airlines jet on its way from Washington, D.C. to Dallas, Texas, had to take a detour and make an emergency landing in Nashville, Tennessee, after the scent of smoke and sulfur filled the cabin. Okay. All right. Interesting. So the stewardesses all made their rounds, right? Sniffing and smelling, and could not isolate the smell's origin, nor could they determine exactly what the smell was. There were various passengers that were like, I smell smoke. Is that smoke? We're on a plane. We're at 30,000 feet. There shouldn't be smoke. Is that smoke? And so obviously there was a bit of commotion drummed up, and obviously it was enough to bring the pilot out from the locked flight deck. Even he investigated. He too was stumped, but later confirmed there was indeed a smell of smoke. So called up the tower, said, we're making an emergency landing. And upon landing there in Nashville, Tennessee, all 99 passengers and the flight crew were all evacuated from the plane and detained while the NSA and bomb-sniffing dogs combed the plane top to bottom. Even the luggage was removed and searched. As the passengers, one by one, were interrogated by officials, the searches on the plane turned up a pile of burnt matches under one of the rows of seats. Now, once narrowing the search down to just a few people who were sitting in that area, because everybody knows you're all assigned to a certain seat there when you're flying, a woman came forward and admitted she had struck the matches. Not to carry out some elaborate terrorist attack, no, and it wasn't because she was a closeted pyromaniac. Nope, not that either. It's all because she was embarrassed by the smell she was making. The Dallas, Texas woman, whose identity has not been released, apparently has a medical condition causing her farts to smell like something that has literally crawled up her ass and died. She claims the pressurized cabin was bringing the worst out of her, and she was discreetly lighting the matches under a blanket in the hopes they would mask the horrific odor. Now, even though they were some safety matches, lighting them is not allowed on airlines. Now, she was later released without charge, but was not allowed back on the plane. I would imagine she wouldn't be allowed on a bus or even a cab for that matter. I cannot imagine. Now, I've had some doozies, all right? I mean, everybody has. We're all human, right? Nobody is without fault on this. But boy, howdy. Enough to really bring down a plane like this? Boy, I don't know.
Well, fortunately, a hot air balloon was passing by, and they were more than happy to give her a ride.
Oh, yeah.
Because it meant they didn't have to stop for refueling.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Didn't even see that coming, did you?
No, not in a million years. Not in a million years. But I'm not surprised. That's definitely par for the course as far as Tony jokes go. Well, look, I understand. I did a little bit of research on this, and I guess that passing gas when you're on a plane is expected. The pressurized cabin does sort of play havoc on our digestive system, and this is just something that happens. And in fact, doctors actually recommend that you do it. Otherwise, you could definitely cause yourself some internal grief, as it were. This gal just probably took it a little step further than she probably should have. So.
Now, I've always wondered, does lighting a match make any difference? I mean, I know it's methane, and if you got it just right, you can get a little bang for your light. But I think it's just the smell of the burning match that overwhelms the other smell. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, sulfur is definitely a very pungent smell, probably more so than methane, as it were, regardless of how much chili you ate the night before. But here's the other thing, is that if you've ever flown first class, you sit in leather seats. If you sit in coach, you're sitting on fabric seats. So I'm wondering if she wasn't sitting in first class. Leather seats do not mask the sound, nor do they absorb any sort of odor. You're essentially passing wind into an impermeable membrane. Whereas in coach, well, you've got 3 inches of foam underneath you to absorb and muffle whatever is being expelled. So
yeah, you could do some serious damage if you really let it loose on some leather, because it gets some flapping action going there.
That's right. And boy, if safety matches or not, man, recirculated air, in a match and some flammable gas, that's a blue flame just waiting to happen, if you're asking me.
Well, whenever you were talking about smoke and the smell of sulfur, I thought, Satan? Satan made an appearance on a...
He's flying first class. He's got some frequent flyer miles got to get used up, apparently.
Oh, God, the poor thing. And, I just somehow knew she was going to be a Texan.
Oh, did you?
But I didn't think it was going to be a she. I thought it was going to be a guy,
Well, wouldn't be surprised either way.
It makes you wonder.
Folks,
it makes you wonder if it would have been bad enough to cause the same problem if, without the matches. That would have been really funny.
Well, apparently it was just the embarrassment is what led her to lighting up, as it were. Well, guys, that's it for the show. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you catch us every week, 10 p.m. Central Time over on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit up TonyandJosh.com for all the links and leave us a voicemail at your earliest convenience. We'll see you next time.
All right, and we're out. Let's see if we got any comments. We did get a viewer, but no comments. I bet you that's little Jim. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I was really hoping that it was actually the gas and not something else. And whenever you started talking about the sulfur and the smoke, I was thinking, that's they're going to think it's something else. And but that would be a good story to tell. I brought down a plane once with my farts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. That's bragging rights.
Oh, big time. And gosh, I can't help but think about the laughing that these people were doing outside the room after she spilled her guts, pardon the pun.
Yeah,
of what,
pointing and laughing and just like, can you believe that? That was her, all that stuff. Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to to press charges on her for this. Poor thing.
Yeah. No, how could you? I mean, come on. She's at this point definitely been through enough.
Yeah.
There's had to have been a fair amount of ridicule happening from, I would imagine, TSA agents. I would have to imagine the people that were, interrogating her. And who knows how long she was being questioned and how many times she had to insist that no, it's just this medical condition. And here, if I could just, bear down for a second, I'll show you guys here,
It's like that Eddie Murphy not cartoon, Eddie Murphy album that he did. Remember that fart you made? Guys would be talking about memorable farts.
Yeah. Well, that's one that nobody will be forgetting anytime soon. Yeah. No, the plane was diverted, emergency landing, evacuated, luggage gone through, all because of, you ate too much broccoli the night before.
Yeah. Goodyear blimp said, "Come on down."
We got you. We got a spot for you right here, first class.
It's right next to an open window. Yep. That's great. All right, man. Well, I'll say good night, and we'll catch up at least on Sunday.
All right, buddy. Hope you get feeling better soon.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
And I want to thank all of you watching on YouTube, and hope you will join us live 10 p.m. Central Time right here on this YouTube channel.